Cloud storage, well, when we upload a file to Google Drive, we're using someone else's storage, or when we download something from Mega, we're using someone else's storage. Today, we're going to explore how to build our own cloud storage that runs on a server we control. First, we're going to deploy a Linux VPS on JCloud. Then, we'll install Nextcloud. After that, we'll install the Nextcloud client on our computer, and finally, we'll set up Nextcloud to be accessible only via a VPN, so it won't be exposed to the entire internet. Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is go to the Shop channel in the JCloud Discord server. In this channel, we have to click on the Linux VPS button. As you can see, this will create a channel with your name at the top of the server. Let's enter the channel and wait a few seconds for it to fully load. The first thing we need to do is select the operating system for our VPS. In this case, we're going to use Ubuntu server. We're choosing Ubuntu because it comes with Snap, a package manager developed by Canonical, which makes it easy to install Nextcloud. Now that we know which OS we're going to use, let's talk about the prices. On the screen, you can see the prices for the different tiers of storage we offer, starting from 32 gigabytes and going all the way up to 2 terabytes. If you run out of space, you can always upgrade to a higher storage plan. Now we can start selecting the specs for our VPS. In this case, I'm going to choose 2 CPU cores, which will add €2.50 to the total, 1 gigabyte of RAM, adding €1.50 to the total, and 256 gigabytes of storage, which will add €20.85 to the total. You can choose the specs based on your use case, and if you need assistance, you can open a ticket, and we'll help you decide. Now let's continue with the setup. The first thing we need to do is enter the username we want to use for logging in. You can choose any name you prefer. Next, if you want to add a note to your VPS order, you can write it in the provided field. After that, you need to enter an email address where we can contact you if you don't respond via Discord. To avoid spam, you'll need to enter your name. Next, you can select the number of months and the payment method. Both of these options can be changed later if needed. Once we complete the payment, the VPS will begin its creation process. In about a minute or two, it should be ready, and we'll receive the login details. Now, let's skip directly to the part where we're connected to our VPS. If you'd like a detailed explanation, you can check out these videos where we walk through the process. Now that we're connected, let's start by switching to the root user by entering sudo su. Next, enter the root user password when prompted. Now, let's check for available updates by typing apt update. As we can see from the output, there are updates available. Let's apply those updates by typing apt upgrade. Now, let's move on to the part where the system is fully updated. Now, with the system updated, let's install Nextcloud as mentioned earlier. We'll use Snap for this, so type snap install Nextcloud. This may take a few minutes to install, so let's speed up this part. Now that it's installed, let's access Nextcloud. To do this, open your web browser and enter the IP address of your VPS in the address bar. As you can see, we've accessed Nextcloud via HTTP, so we need to accept the warning about the insecure HTTP site. Then, we'll be on the Nextcloud user creation page. The first thing we need to do is enter the username we want to use for logging into our account. Next, we'll need to set a secure password for that user. Then, click on the Install button. This will start the initial setup, which usually takes around 30 seconds to 1 minute. Once it's complete, you'll see a tab where you can install recommended apps. If you want, you can install them now. I'll do it, but keep in mind that you can always install them later if you change your mind. This process takes more time to complete than the initial installation, so we'll skip ahead to the part where the apps are installed. Now that we have Nextcloud installed, we'll need to install the desktop client on our computer. Open a new tab in your browser, search for Nextcloud on Google, and click on the first link. Then click on the Download button, go to the Desktop Applications section, and select the Windows version. Save the file to a location of your choice. Once it has downloaded, let's execute the file. Click Next until the installation begins. Once the installation is complete, we'll be prompted with the option to open Nextcloud. Let's click that. This will open the Nextcloud app. Click on the option to connect to your server. When prompted, enter http:// followed by your server's IP address. Once the address is entered, click the Next button. This will open a browser page where you need to accept the app's connection. Once you've accepted the connection, go back to the Nextcloud app, where you can now add a folder to sync locally with the cloud. In my case, I'll create a folder on the desktop called Nextcloud. Once the folder is created, I'll go to the Nextcloud app and change the default sync folder to that new folder. Now that our folder is created, let's click the Connect button in the app. The sync with our server will start. And once it finishes, we can open the Nextcloud folder on our PC to view its contents. These are sample files, so I'm going to delete all of them. Now, if we go back to our web browser and refresh the page, we can see that those files have been deleted. Let's go back to our folder on the PC. I'll create a new folder. In my case, I'll name it Sync. Once the folder is created, I'll upload a wallpaper to it. Then, if we go to the system tray and click the Nextcloud icon, we can monitor the upload process. When the file shows a green check mark, it means it has been fully synced. Next, go to your web browser, reload the page, and check for the uploaded file. As we can see, the file is there, and we can open it. Now let's move to the final part of the video. We'll set up a VPN on both the server and our computer to make Nextcloud accessible only via the VPN. The first thing we need to do is search for Tailscale on Google and click on the first result. Once we've clicked on the result, select the Linux version and copy the command provided. Now let's go back to our terminal and paste the command that we copied from the Tailscale page. Now execute the command and wait a few seconds for the Tailscale installation to complete. Once the installation is complete, run Tailscale up. This will provide a link that you need to copy and paste into your browser. The page that opens will allow you to connect your VPS to your Tailscale network. Now simply click the Connect button, then go to your admin console. Once you're there, you should see that your VPS is listed. Next, we need to install the Tailscale client on our desktop. To do this, click the Add Device button. Copy the link and paste it into a new tab. Then click the Windows Install button and save the client to your preferred location. When the download is complete, open the setup file and install the client. Click the Install button and accept the UAC prompt. The installation will then begin. Once the installation is finished, click the Close button. Then, go to the system tray and click the Tailscale icon. This will open a new page in your browser to connect your device to your Tailscale network. Click the Connect button. Go back to the Machines tab and copy the IP address of the Linux VPS. Paste it into a new tab, wait a few seconds for the page to load, and accept any security warnings. As you can see, an error message appears. This error occurs because the Tailscale interface is not a trusted domain. To fix this, open your terminal and add the Tailscale IP as a trusted domain by typing the following command: bash nextcloud.occ config system sested domains 1 bash value IP of our Tailscale VPS. Now that the domain is added, let's restart Nextcloud. To do this, run the command bash snap restart Nextcloud. Once it has restarted, go to your web browser. As you can see, you are now accessing Nextcloud via the Tailscale IP. However, we need to ensure that all traffic not coming from the Tailscale network is blocked. So let's go back to our terminal. The first thing we need to do is install UFW. Run the command bash apt install UFW. As you can see, it will be installed. Now we need to identify the network addresses of our Tailscale network. To do this, go to the Tailscale admin console and note the first 2 octets of the IP addresses. Now back in the terminal, enter the commands shown on the screen. Note that your Tailscale addresses might be different. Use the following command to check if the UFW firewall is enabled. As you can see, UFW is not enabled. Use the following command to enable it: bash UFW enable. Now that UFW is enabled, let's check in the web browser if the changes have been applied. First, go to the page using the VPN IP and reload it. As you can see, it works. Next, go to the public IP page and reload it. As you can see, it isn't loading. That's all for this video. I hope you found it useful. If you're interested in setting up your own private cloud, feel free to join the JCloud Discord server. See you in the next one.